Welcome back, guys, to the second video. If you remember, in the first two videos we talked about nutrition. Part one was basically talking about if you want to gain weight and build muscle, there was a certain diet protocol that you need to do in order to do that. And then the second part to that first video was if you want to shed some pounds, lose some fat, and build muscle at the same time. So we talked about two different things, and today I want to talk to you about the different training methods, because we can't talk about nutrition without talking about the training. I mean, that's the whole point of going to the gym and working out, and that's why we love working out. We love hitting the weights. Nutrition is, very, very, very important. You're never going to build muscle if you don't have that proper nutrition. But now we need to talk about effective training methods, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is that whatever training program you're on, you have to have some type of progression in there, okay? And what I mean by that is that there's certain progression methods that you can use in your training. There's just not one. There's several different ways to progress in your training, and I'm going to touch on three of them. So one of them is, let's say you're doing a bench press for 135 pounds. The next time you do bench press, maybe you want to do 145 pounds. So now that's one way that you progressed. You increased the weight and you kept the reps the same. Okay, so say you're doing 10 reps and the next time you do 10 reps, but now you've increased it by 10 pounds. A second method is that you could do the same weight from week 1 to week 2, but maybe your rest periods are shorter, and that's another way you're going to progress. So let's say you rested for 60 seconds at 135 pounds. The next time you do chest with 135, you're only going to rest for 45 seconds. So that's another way to progress. And the third way that you could actually progress is that you can do the same weight from week to week, but now the reps have changed. So that would be like the third way that your training program can progress. So I just want to make sure you get that. You want to use one of those methods to progress, and then you want to keep track. I would just recommend bring a workout journal with you, document, write down how many the weight, the reps, sets, and then and that's another way to actually progress as well. I didn't mention that was how many sets. You may do 3 sets in week 1, you do 4 sets in week 4. So there's 4, there may be more than that, but there's 4 main ones that you can use to progress in your training. So that's pretty much it for progression. You want to make sure to bring that workout journal, track everything, because what gets measured gets improved. You got to track things. That's the only way you're ever going to build muscle more each month, okay? Now the second thing is frequency. How often, I get a lot of questions, how often should I train my muscle groups? Can I train my biceps once a week? Can I train them twice a week, 3 times a week? Well, it all depends. I mean, what I found to be optimal is that you can train your muscles more than once a week. You can train your biceps 2 or 3 times a week. You can train your triceps 2 or 3 times a week, your chest. Legs, maybe 2, but the workouts are not going to be the same. That's the thing I want to stress the most. Your workouts cannot be the same. So like say for legs, let's say on Monday, you're training for strength. And when you train for strength, you're typically doing very heavy weight, low reps, long rest periods. But then 2 to 3 days later, you're going to train legs again, but now you're going to be doing lighter weight, more reps, and the rest periods are going to be shorter, and that's going to build more of muscle size. So you see, one's building strength, the other one's building size. And if you put those two together, you're really going to be way ahead of the game further than most people. Most people are training the same way every single time. They're not really building strength, they're not building size, they're just kind of going in there and just winging it, and they don't have their journal, they're not tracking anything. I can tell you, track it, train for strength, train for size, all in the same week with those muscle groups, and you're going to find you are going to get awesome results very quickly. So the next point I want to talk to you about is cycling your training. Okay, when you cycle your training, typically you want to change your workouts every 4 to 6 weeks, because doing so you're going to create muscle adaptation. You need time for your muscles to adapt, and that takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks. And once your muscles adapt, then you want to move on to a different workout. You don't want to do the same workout, year in and year out. There's different ways to train in the gym as well. There's a mixture of free weights, and there's a mixture of machines, and you want to try to incorporate both. Basically, with free weights, you have to use more of your stabilizer muscles, whereas when you're using machines, it pretty much takes stabilizer muscles out of the equation. The great thing about free weights is that it does build muscle a little better. I'm not going to say that one's better than the other. They both have their place in your training program, and you definitely want to incorporate both of those. The benefit to doing machines, it's very easy to incorporate finishers. And what I mean by finishers is let's say you want to do a superset. It's very easy to go from machine to machine rather than doing free weights. I mean, you can superset with free weights, but it's far more effective if you can use machines. Like say you're doing a bicep curl and you want to do 2 different exercises for biceps. Try to use 2 different machines. That's going to help you a lot better. It's going to be more time efficient. You're not going to have to, pick different free weights up around, if you're doing free weights. The second finisher that's great when you're doing machines is doing drop sets. So it's very easy to pull the pin. So basically what I mean by that is like say, you're doing chest again. Like say you're doing like a Smith machine chest press and you do 12 reps. As soon as you're done doing 12 reps, you want to drop the weight by 5 or 10%. Try to get out as much as you can, as many reps as you can do. Then you're going to drop the pin again and then again. And you want to drop the weight for typically 3 to 4 times and then the set's over. But you only want to do a drop set pretty much at the end of your workout. So let's say you did 3 sets of Smith machine on chest. On your 4th set, you're going to do a drop set. That's a great way to finish the workout on your chest. The other thing is that another training method you can do is working in agonists and antagonists. And what that means is you're working opposing muscle groups. So let's say you work chest, the very next exercise is going to be back, and then you're going to do chest again and then back. Same thing with arms. If you start off with bicep, you're going to go to tricep, bicep, tricep, and you're going to do this all in the same workout. And what I found to be very effective is actually supersetting those. So let's say you're doing a barbell bench press, you want to superset that with pull-ups, because pull-ups works the back, bench press works the chest. So you want to superset those. That is a very, very great technique that a lot of the old school bodybuilders use. One guy in particular was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He used that training protocol a lot. I mean, he supersetted his agonist all the time. And in my 180 muscle program, it actually does that as well. The whole program is laid out. You're supersetting agonist and antagonist muscle groups. So that's another great benefit to the 180 muscle program. The next finisher that's really, really great, that's going to build a lot of strength, is rest pause sets. And what that does is say you want to start off doing, let's just give, for example, we're doing, let's just stick with the Smith machine, right? We did drop sets, so now we're still doing chest Smith machine. So what you're going to do with that is say, put as much weight as you can on there and just do 12 reps. That's it. Just do 12 reps. And this is just an example. If you can do 10 or 15, that's fine. But try to put a weight on there where you can do 12 reps. Then you're going to rest for approximately 60 seconds. And then you're going to do 12 more reps. This time, after your 12th rep, you're only going to rest for 15 seconds. And then you're going to try and push that weight as much as you can. Stop, rest for 15 seconds, push that weight again. You're going to do this 3 or 4 times. And what this does is you're going to be able to continue lifting very, very heavy weight kind of in that 8 to 12 rep range, depending on how many reps you get resting after those 15 seconds. So for example, let's say you start off with 12 reps, right? You stop, rest for 60 seconds. Then you're going to try and do 12 more reps. And then you're going to stop 15 seconds, try to get maybe, you may only get like maybe 6 or 8. Stop for 15 seconds, try to get 6 or 8 more. So this is a great way to build strength, because what you're doing is that you're lifting really, really heavy weight, but you're only resting for 15 seconds. So that is another great technique that a lot of bodybuilders use, is the rest pause technique. So that's all I want to cover today. Those are just different training methods that's going to help you build muscle pretty fast. Just to recap, we talked about progression, we talked about frequency, we talked about training for strength versus training for size. We talked about cycling your training, so you want to do it every 4 to 6 weeks to create that muscle adaptation. And then we talked about the difference between free weights and machines and which ones are tailored to one or the other. And the last thing was we talked about the finishers. We talked about doing supersets, drop sets, and we also talked about, let's see, what was the other one? Rest pause sets. So those are great finishers. So that's all I want to cover today in this video, guys. We're going to be talking about some more things in video 3, but that's it for the different training styles, and I will see you guys in the next video.